Good. We'll be happy to have you in. You can make
Nobody's happy to have me, but
it.
hell, my wife isn't even happy to have me. Alrighty. Good day, guys. There's myself, and Jim Sear, and Lee Hoogley here. So, guys, what are you guys going to be drinking tonight?
I got one of the standards for me, which is the Garrison Imperial IPA.
Nice, nice.
So.
I have a acquisition from my latest trip down to sea level, the Rojo Mojo Red.
Oh,
nice.
I have one of the last bottles in Ontario of Cameron's Obsidian Porter.
Sweet.
Because why wouldn't I just pull out some big guns tonight? Now, like I said to Lee, I'm using these Chilsner icicles because this beer. Oh, I can't even use it on this. Okay. Anyway, these beers came right from the cellar area, and I like them to be just like a degree or two lower than my cellar is at.
Have you been trying some of the stuff from Dominion up in Ottawa lately? Or?
Nowhere near Ottawa, so I've had anything from Dominion. I actually haven't even heard anything about them from any of my Ottawa people. Guy would probably have tried them, I would assume.
Yeah.
Dale. Guy and Dale.
Yeah. Well, I saw something, it wasn't from them, it was from somebody else that I follow on Twitter, and they had launched some seasonal and kind of gave it some good marks there. And what it is, I kind of forgot what it was, but I kind of, last time I saw about Dominion, they were doing their Kickstarter a number of months ago. So I kind of forgot where they were at, or even if they were open for business or not. So.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I know they're open for business. I don't know anything about them other than that, though. And just so you know, I broke my bottle.
Oh, great.
Yeah, now there's 5 bottles of it left in Ontario, and I can't drink that one because the top broke on it.
Ah, for fuck's sake.
What the fuck, Kyle? What the fuck?
Unless you get a spaghetti strainer into the kitchen.
So instead, I'm drinking Trappist Roquefort.
Oh well, that's a good substitute.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Beer Zerker asked us a question, and I was going to pose this offline so we could think about it. But you know what? Because it's supposed to be recent. Oh God, I almost had glass in my eye. That's awesome. It's better to just throw it out there. He asked, "What are the three worst beers we've drank recently?" And I'd probably add the 3 most disappointing beers that you've drank recently as well, because disappointing and worst are very much a different thing.
Disappointing.
Yeah, for myself, disappointing. You know what? The Southern Tier Warlock was very disappointing this year from what it was last year. Also disappointing that I had this year, probably the 5 Paddles Midnight Paddler barrel, the Belgian Midnight Paddler, which was barrel aged in rum barrels. I went into that knowing that it was a 10 out of 10, a Midnight Paddler, and I loved the beer and this and that, and I'm like, rum barrels and a Belgian strain of yeast and some extra sugars, this is going to be amazing. And then it was a great beer, but it completely let me down from what I expected it to be. And third disappointing beer. Anything Nick drinks. No, you know what? I went out and I bought the
Horsteiner Dunkel's a bad example.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. I didn't even know you had that. I went out and I bought a what the fuck is it? Oh, they make a Pilsner too. 1 second, I gotta check this out. Sorry guys, this one I know it, but I don't know it at the same time. I wonder if the LCBO will list it or not. It's a Radler. I went and bought a German Radler, and it was a grapefruit Radler, just like all the others. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fine, and at least okay. Pardon?
Is it like Schlenhofer or something?
No, that one was just here we go. Wernengruner. I bought the Wernengruner Radler, and I bought it going, okay, you know what, if the Brick can make a good Radler and Schofferhofer can make an acceptable Radler, these guys should be able to make a good Radler, and it was one of the most disappointing things I'd ever ingested. I wanted to break the can and throw it at the person that made it.
Yeah, I've had Warren's Gruner's Pilsner before, and it was a piece of crap. Suck. I dumped it down the sink.
Yeah, their Radler's worse.
Oh, God.
I guess I'll go next. I guess all these would be like basically disappointing. Wouldn't be like worst beers I've had because I haven't really had any bad beers in the last little while. Honestly, I found the Garrison Bowes Sweet Ride to be quite disappointing. I mean, it was still a really good beer, don't get me wrong, but I was expecting a lot more, especially from the Bowes side of things. And it just tasted like a subpar Bowes beer, to me. That's what it tasted like. Also, honestly, the Garrison Double Jack, as good as it is also kind of disappointing. I was expecting a lot more going into it.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, I like it, but I mean, for me, it just tasted like a pumpkin spiced version of their warm, really. Being quite a bit. And for the other one, it'd probably be the second time I had Pump House IPA. First time I had it, it was pretty good, but since then, every time I've had it, it's been, I don't know, something's gone screwy with it, and it just doesn't taste very good. It's just a malty mess.
Well, I haven't reviewed it yet. The last batch sucked.
Yeah.
For me, since we're talking about Garrison, the Garrison Obey, which was just a blend of the hop yard and the amber.
Yeah.
They tend to do that a lot, just to blend the tall ship amber, and just doesn't work. I know there's a few people who like to blend some beers together, like somebody, I forget who it was. They told me, don't blend a Garrison and Propeller. It doesn't work. But if you blend these two together, it's fantastic. This and that. But Obey was a blend that I did not like at all. Another disappointing one was Unita. They have their Doobie Black IPA or whatever. But they had a sheep or a it was a barley IPA. I forget exactly what it was. I think the label just had a sheep on it. Baba or something like that. That was very disappointing. And what was the third one? The third one was, I think it was the Grim Ross Porter I just had a couple of weeks ago. Very disappointed in that. Just I was expecting a little bit more from that, but I don't. Maybe because I had stronger beers before that, but when I had that Grim Ross, it just wasn't quite up to the task. So.
You, Nick?
Disappointing in the years that I've had recently. This year's pumpkin ale from Propeller.
You had that, didn't you?
It was exciting that it was like available in New Brunswick for the first time, and I remember it being all right. I mean, not great, but all right. When I think you sent me a bottle once late, and it just take one drink of it, and just all kinds of clove, and it was just overdone. Yeah. I ended up giving the rest away. So other ones I've been disappointed in recently. I had La Blanche de Chaoui from True Diab, and that one was just like watery Belgian wit. I think even Rickards is probably better than that. And
which one was it? The
La Blanche de Chaoui
from True Diab. Okay.
They really didn't care for it. And what are we doing? 3 or?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
I guess the other one I'm going to nominate is I'm just taking a quick look through my Untapped history to see if I could suggest anything. What did I hate? Oh yeah, Molson Canadian 67, but I wasn't expecting much from that. Let's see. Oh yeah, this year's Harvest Ale from Picaroons was kind of meh.
Is it?
Depending upon what you get, though. I mean, that first time they made it was really great. And now it was just hit or miss.
They change that every year, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
That hasn't made it to Nova Scotia yet, did it, Leah?
No, we still only get their best bidder and their blonde.
Yeah. No, it was funny with the pumpkin ale. I think I posted this a little while ago. It wasn't a couple of years ago where, if you count New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, there was really only just maybe 2 pumpkin ales that you can get your hands on. But now, I guess somebody counted. There's 7 pumpkin ales. Or in the Maritimes, I guess.
Just locally, so you got like Authentic Seacoast, Propeller, Garrison, Sea Level.
Pump House, Gahan, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So apparently there's 7. And I mentioned this in my hangout there, but the Sea Level and the Garrison to me was the better ones there.
Sea Level's the best one I've had.
Yeah.
I really like the Sea Level one. That was really good. They balanced the spiciness and the pumpkin pie flavor really perfectly, I think.
They seem to be doing something different than what everybody else is doing, especially when you look at what they did with their blueberry ale, which I think they fermented the blueberries for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
They really trying to do something a little bit different with Sea Level wise, with blueberries and the pumpkin there, to give it that, just bring out more of the actual natural taste to it. So
yeah, I should have picked that blueberry because I had a chance to pick it up. I should have picked that up. Now I think about it, it would have been funny for to send a can to Chad and have Blueberry review it with him. But yeah, well, like Sea Level are big on naturally sourcing all their ingredients. I mean, the pies were Randy Lawrence's own pumpkin pan pie pumpkins or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
He grew himself the little mini pumpkins. So I mean, it would only stand to reason that he would make the beer to showcase the actual pumpkins instead of overloading it with spice, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. But yeah, the two pumpkin beers from this end, Garrison and Sea Level for me is probably the best there right now if you want to talk about harvest ales or harvest pumpkin ales. But
yeah. All right. See if we got any comments here. Now we got one comment from Greg Bylog, says, "Good evening, gentlemen." So he's watching.
Good evening.
all right.
So, what's going on?
Not much. We gave our most disappointing beers. You just kind of have to replay and watch to find out what they were.
Here's the only problem with doing a live thing on the internet when you have kids. Anything can happen.
Well, it's funny, Chad. Ours is it's pretty good to go to bed at 7 o'clock or 7:30 there, but I can't wait until she gets another year older and then she decides to march down the steps here during my hangout to say what's up. Hey, here's a topic here. I saw in the news this morning. Was it this morning or the day before? Alcoa giving the Nova Scotia Craft Brewer Association $60,000 to do a 5-year growth business plan or something like that.
Yeah, 5-year strategic growth plan. Yeah, Alcoa is giving what $35,000, and I think the Economic and Rural Development is doing $24,000, and the Association of I can't remember what it is, but there's another like 15 or 20,000 coming in from some other stuff, and it was all because they had a study with the NSLC that said their craft beer industry has grown like 23% in Nova Scotia or something.
Yeah, and I think one of the articles tried to tie the GDP of the province.
Yeah, they're saying 37 million, I think it was.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that. So.
Yeah, and they expect. Let's see, I actually got the article up here now. They are saying sales of craft brewers are up 28% in the last quarter alone. Really more than 200 people, and craft beer accounted for 4.034 million in sales at corporation outlets in 2013-2014. So. By 2029, the craft beer industry could contribute more than 37 million annually in Nova Scotia GDP. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Good thing to invest in.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Sounds better than that shipbuilding project we had going on there.
I'm not trying to take it back to this, but just because I know people will watch this, if anyone's wondering, he didn't hurt himself. He scared the shit out of himself when he dropped the door that isn't on its hinges.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
That shouldn't have happened. My mother, his mother, should have been in charge of that because she's putting him to bed and he ran down the hall to come see me. But hey,
He loves his dad.
I was,
Between you and your two kids, somebody's crapping their pants every once in a while. So.
It's true, between you or the kids, somebody will do it. Okay, so the Beer Zerker's question was your worst beer you've had recently, the 3 worst. So we're not looking at disappointing. We're looking at why did I do this?
Oh well, I can't even really answer that then because I'd have to go like months and months back on my list.
Yeah. There was one beer I had at Stillwell. I think it was one of the imports that they brought in from Ontario. I don't know if it was a Bellwoods or there was something. It wasn't their all Brett. Maybe it was their. I don't know if they did a sour, but there was one of them. I do have a picture of me making the face, drinking the beer. It was not good at all. Jeez, what it was, I forget. I didn't tag the picture of what I was drinking at the time, but that was probably the only one lately that was like the worst, other than my homebrew.
The worst one I've had lately has got to be Molson 67. That's too easy. That's like cheating, though.
I think the worst one I had recently is probably coming up like tomorrow and the next day, and it's going to be the Old English malt liquor that I drank that Geese sent me. So I'm thinking it's going to be horrible. But
still got a bottle of that sitting here. The one that I bought in Ontario in April.
Oh yeah, right.
Me and Don are supposed to be drinking that at some point, but I haven't gotten around that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna call you bitches. I'm gonna call you bitches out on my video then.
Fuck you. Go ahead. Hopefully they'll get Dawn into it.
Ooh, worst, eh? It is a hard one when you think about it because a lot of times you're not drinking beers that are horrible. You're drinking beers that are meh, like why?
Yeah.
But to say worst beer, it's a hard one. Actually, I can't even say the Trafalgar beers lately because they've all been pretty good for what he normally puts out. Yeah, I don't think in the last 4 months I've had anything that's been really, really bad.
Yeah. I mean, I could go back to my answer of most disappointing and say that every bottle of Pump House IPA I've had since the initial pack I bought has been disappointing compared to the original one I had. So I don't know what's going on there, some sort of quality control issue. But
yeah, there's a lot of other beers I could have added to my disappointing list, but worst beers right now, I don't think so. Like Bounty Hunter from Bellwoods. It came to me, I was given all this talk about what it was. It tastes just like a Bounty bar. It's full of coconut and chocolate. then I drank that fresh bottle from the new batch, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't what you guys made me think I was gonna get.
We got a comment from Winter is coming. He says he picked up Waterloo's Porter sampler pack tonight. Has anyone tried them? I've never tried it because their sampler packs are incredibly overpriced, and they always feature like 2 beers I've already bloody well had. So I only pick them up if they're like heavily in the reduced pile, like months later.
This mixed pack is $13.50 here in Ontario, and it's 2 cans of Waterloo Dark, 2 cans of Waterloo Porter, and 2 cans of Waterloo Vanilla Porter.
Okay.
I haven't had it yet because it's not available around here. There's apparently four 6-packs in St. Catharines. So Simon's actually on his way right now to see if he can get it for me.
Oh, okay. Well, I would pick that one up maybe.
Yeah.
Because I've never had their vanilla porter either, so I would sacrifice I'd give the dark to like my dad or my brother or something like that because that's a horrible beer. But unless you like burnt French fries, if you really dig burnt French fries, then that's a beer for you. Let's see. Ireland, Greg. Dullahan Brewing says, good evening, everyone. Cheers. Good evening, Greg. And Bylog says, the worst beer I've had in recent memory was Refined Fool's Hipster Doofus. Shame since I liked everything else they made.
Mm.
But isn't Hipster Doofus supposed to be like a PBR kind of clone?
See, that's what it came off to for me. Apparently, they were telling some people it was a strawberry wheat beer, and if they had told me it was a strawberry wheat beer, yeah, it was one of the most horrible beers I've ever drank. But if you just give it to me as Hipster Doofus and it tastes like a fucking corn adjunct lager, and I laugh my ass off, it's perfectly exactly what it's supposed to be, it's great beer.
Yeah, it's the Honey Monster's new favorite beer, probably.
Unless that was the game too, tell you it's a strawberry wheat beer and see how many people like it, even though it isn't.
That'd be actually kind of funny. That'd be a funny joke.
Because that would be fully playing on the hipster thing of this is good. Really, why? Because I'm told it's good.
You know what they should do? They should go the Brewdog route, but instead of having like a dead squirrel on the top of the bottle, they should have a fedora on the top of the bottle. Little mini fedora.
Hey, we should talk about that BuzzFeed video.
Oh yeah, I just love that video. Fucking bastard.
Oh yes.
But BuzzFeed has struck out twice in a row now. Two videos in a row about beer that have been absolute shit. That beer was especially egregious because one of the matchups they showed. Okay, not forget the fact that the matchups were totally unfair and didn't make sense at all in the first place. But they listed St. Ambrose Pale Ale as St. Ambrose fucking
something like
wheat beer, whatever the fuck it was. They don't make a wheat beer. And even if they did, it wasn't called that. So.
No, the one for Mealy was when they mashed up Keith with Lagunta IPA.
Yeah, fucking Lagunitas IPA against Keith's IPA. Who's gonna win that one, boys?
Oh, jeez, I could tell you that.
If you haven't noticed ever, the people at BuzzFeed are fairly biased.
Oh yeah, I know
that was a great biased thing. Let's put Alexander Keith's IPA up against.
Well, what it was a great opportunity for them to get a case of free beer and drink it for a Friday afternoon and make a video.
And I think the people they had on there were all paid actors anyway. I'm pretty sure they were.
Well, most of them on their staff. Yeah.
Hipster staff members trying to be funny on a video. I mean, come on.
I don't know. I'm subscribed to a couple of those BuzzFeed video channels there. I kind of do like what they do most of the part, but they get on this kick of comparing American versus whatever, like food, toys, beer, whatever. But you notice at the end, Buddy, if you do manage to watch to the end, Buddy was like, beer is great everywhere. Give it a chance. Taste it and stuff like that. Trying to kind of ease off the hate.
Well, that's just it. A perfect example would be to go out and a perfect video would be to go out and get the top IPA in the U.S. and the top IPA in Canada.
Yeah.
The top stout in Canada, the top stout in the U.S. and put them up against each other instead of going, hey, let's get something that's a cream ale and put it up against a really good IPA. Let's go get a beer that doesn't actually really exist and put it up against something else. Let's go get Granville. Let's go get a Granville beer and put it up.
Yeah, Jesus. It's like, fuck, come on, guys. I mean, it's probably unreasonable for them to Bring Out Your Dead and put it up against Bourbon County or something like that, but, I mean, that would be a fair comparison. But, I mean, if they're basically, they were doing the equivalent of, putting Bourbon County up against Alexander Keith's or something like that. I mean, that's basically what it was. It was, basically a one-sided battle.
Well, no, it would be Bourbon County versus Labatt's Bourbon Barrel Ale.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. Perfect example. But it was just so stupid. I mean, I guess probably part of it is to try to get, craft beer nerds like us angry at shit. I'm not even angry at it. I find it lazy and stupid. And it's kind of insulting, and it's like, come on, guys, you can do better than this.
Well, you said it perfectly, Lee. It was something to get people like us angry and comment and share and tweet, which we did.
Yep.
This morning.
Yeah, it was clickbait. That's what it was. It was clickbait, and then it was sharebait because it was going to get people angry.
Yeah. But it doesn't really get me angry. Say is the same thing as Food Babe, and all of her bullshit, which is actually spreading disinformation and just a bunch of bullshit. But with the BuzzFeed thing, it's like, come on, guys. It's like, I'll even admit that American beer overall is better than Canadian beer, and it's better than just about every fucking country as far as beer goes, because they just have a monopoly on fucking good beer. They make more good beer than anyone else. But every country makes great beer, and every country has beer that they can put up against American beer at the same time, and so it's really a stupid competition in the first place. It really makes no sense as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, it's true. Every country makes some great beer. I mean, there's some amazing beers that come out of England, some amazing beers that come out of France. Italy's becoming a big thing now, too. Yep. Belgium, Canada, the U.S. Apparently, the craft beer in Mexico is just as good as craft beer almost anywhere else. You can find some interesting beers from Africa. I mean, they're not as big on the craft scale, but I mean, for regular lagers and all that, they're as good, if not better, than most of the domestic lagers you're finding in Canada. Ireland has a craft scene. It's not the biggest, but they have it. Scotland. I mean, you can go around the world, and everywhere has it. It's just finding the stuff and getting your hands on it.
Yeah. All I can say is BuzzFeed should do better. They should, honestly. One of my biggest complaints about the whole thing, honestly, the only thing that actually did make me mad is that they didn't fact check their shit. I mean, that mislabeling of the St. Ambrose, that
what
was.
What did they call the St. Ambrose one? I wasn't watching very.
They named it Heyday Hefeweizen or something, which is a totally different beer from a different company. But St. Ambrose, as far as I know, doesn't even make a wheat beer, at least not one.
The apricot wheat.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't the one they were talking
about.
Yeah,
they showed the pale ale can.
Yeah, they showed a can of the pale ale, and they called it Heyday Hefeweizen, which is a beer that St. Ambrose does not fucking make. And St. Ambrose doesn't really name their beers anything. They just call it St. Ambrose this, St. Ambrose this, that, and shit anyway, pretty much. It's true. So it's like, come on, guys, I mean, if you're going to make a professional video, and, BuzzFeed is a fairly professional video-making site, get your fucking facts right. Do some fact-checking, and don't make yourselves look like fucking idiots. The problem is the people they target it to are never going to really catch those mistakes.
So, what else was there recently? There was that there was that video out there of the kids that took McDonald's and brought it to a food festival and were giving it to foodies, and foodies were being real.
I saw that.
And that made me giggle because what Guy said is that you should do this with craft beer, and we did do that with the Honey Monster. We took his least favorite beer and we dumped it into a bottle of beer that he loved, and he thought it was the bottle of beer he loved, and he was going on about how great it was. And it's true, kind of be fun to do that to some of the people that you know them in every community. You know the people that are pretending that they really know their stuff and that do. And it would be fun to bring it in to a lot of people in the beer community, not necessarily the YouTube, but the beer community itself, and be like, this is my great, you like, get Stephen Beaumont to give it to somebody, right? Somebody with a huge name. This is my newest lager. Oh, this is so great. And it's like Canadian or fucking Buzz or... I think it would be great. It would be, you'd have to find somebody in the brewing industry, though, that would be willing to be part of it, because you need somebody with a big enough name to make them go, oh.
Yeah, but the thing is like, would anyone who has that much of a reputation actually put their name on the line for something like that? Would they
just screw around with somebody? I'm sure that you could find somebody.
Yeah, maybe.
One of the guys from Brewdog.
Yeah, Brewdog would probably do it, no doubt. Yeah, I could see Ed from Five Paddles doing it.
Yeah, he would do it too. You probably wouldn't get Stephen Beaumont to do it. You probably wouldn't be able to get Garrett Oliver to do it. But there's so many people out there that you can use.
Maybe if you the consolation prize for Garrett Oliver is he could get in a death battle with that Chang guy or whatever who serves some ramen noodles. That might work. Oh, we got a shitload of comments here all of a sudden. Winter is Coming says he paid $13-ish for the 6 tall boys in the Waterloo pack. Yeah, I think it costs more in Nova Scotia. That's the thing. We get them for like $16 or something like that. So that's why we don't touch them. Bylog says he's generally happy with Waterloo sampler packs. None of the beers are amazing, but they're all decent, so too good and are priced well. Yeah. Over there, they're priced well. They're not priced well here. But, yeah, I will say the Waterloo sampler packs, the beers are generally of decent quality. It's just the ones we've been getting. It's been like 1 new beer and then like 2 we've already had, so that's been the problem. Winter is Coming says both porters weren't that bad at all. Vanilla porter 6%, regular porter 7%, and I'm holding off on those 2 darks that were included. Good plan. Ethan's beer review says, hey, fellas, can I get into this? Check your Google Plus, dude. Go into actual Google Plus. The invite might be in there. Google's really screwing up where you can't actually see it pop up on your little bell or whatever. So go check that. Average Joe said the same damn thing. I should have read his comment first. Average Joe says most disappointing beers for him recently were Ithaca's County Pumpkin with vanilla beans. Had it at a recent fest, enjoyed the regular pumpkin ale, and the vanilla bean seemed to kill it. Number 2 was Jack Abbey's Berliner-style lager. Nothing going on. Chad and Ewart liked this. Aaron and myself did not. I usually love Jack Abbey's stuff, but I was severely disappointed. And number 3 would be the Sierra Nevada Three Floyds Chico King. Was expecting a damn good beer, and it ended up being average at best. It didn't help the bottle was 2 months old. And the worst beers he recently had were Dark Horse King of the Forest. Not really recent, I guess, but it's so bad it needs to be mentioned again. I agree. 2, the Stone Peanut Butter Beer. Had it at the Detroit Beer Festival this past weekend with Ewart, and it smelled like shit. Tasted like shit. Ended up being shit. Gross. And 3, all the Marzens. Okay, maybe not all the Marzens, but the blind taste test with Paul made me realize I really didn't care for the style, and I don't like most of them.
If Jameson doesn't like orange candy, I'm sure he doesn't like you saying it tasted like shit.
Because they didn't have shit back then to put in beer. Dullahan Brewing. Worst beer I had so far was, he thinks it was by Wells in UK, if I remember correctly, and it was their banana bread beer. Yeah, that sounds about right. And
I've had their banana bread beer good, and I've had it horrible, like skunked horrible, and that's scary.
And Cyrax, Brett Cyrax says, "What's up, dudes? Yo, you see it, dude?"
Yeah, fuck off, mister. I can get every beer in the world because I live in Toronto. You know what he does, eh? He finds all the beers he knows I can't get, and then he tags me on Facebook in pictures of them. Oh, it's so good.
You don't taunt the rhino, boy. One of these days you're going to get the horn.
One of these days you're going to get a horny rhino.
Either thing is bad.
I have 2 children already. I don't need to get horny anymore.
If you can get Brett Cyrex pregnant, then, good on you. Some more comments. Jesus, these keep coming in. We're popular this time around, I guess, for some reason. Mike Roch says, the food bitch relies on lies, half-truths, and propaganda to fearmonger people. She's essentially a food Nazi, fucking hypocrite. Totally agree. Greg Bylog has 2 comments. He says, when it comes to a lot of the local craft brew bloggers, you could probably serve them vinegar, tell them it's a local craft beer, and they'd write a page-long article praising it. Probably.
With pictures.
And this is good. He said, I've heard Africa's number one beer is Ibrula. Hashtag too soon.
Oh.
Ebola? Ibrula? Ebola? Come on, Apple.
Fruit bat flavor.
And just like Canada
Ethan,
and America, you can't get it.
Ethan, I sent you an invite, like a personal invite, so you can find it or you can't, whatever.
Balls in your court.
Yep. That's all I can do. I can't invite you again. Doesn't let me do it twice. Unless somehow it... So, King of the Forest. I forgot all about King of the Forest. King of the Forest, just like Bylog said, I bet you could give it to somebody in Toronto and there would be a page-long thing praising it. This beer is so amazing.
That dude who did
good funk.
That dude who did the 50 best beers in Toronto or whatever. Give him that. He'd even add it to his list, even though it's not from Toronto. He'd just stick it in there.
No, he wouldn't take it because it would come from a friend of a sexist.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You sexist, misogynist pig.
Worst part is, she already said it didn't bother her.
Yeah, but never mind, it didn't bother her, but it bothered those social justice warriors who are out to defend a woman's rights even if she doesn't need them defended.
I don't even know. I'm lost. I really am. How many breweries are right now in the Maritimes? Ontario just hit 243. 243 live breweries. That's brew pubs, nanos, micros, and contracts all together.
I don't know the exact number, but I know it's not even 100, I would say.
No, we're 20 something, I think we're at.
27 or 29?
Yeah.
In the Maritimes?
Like 8 open this year so far.
Yeah, like we're 16 in Nova Scotia, right?
Yeah.
243.
You and PEI, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean for our population and land area compared to Ontario, we're probably...
Well, what was the number I heard in Maine? They have 53 breweries in Maine that are open now or will be opening by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And they're at kind of similar population as Nova Scotia.
Yeah. But you take into account the total Maritimes population. I think we're doing pretty good though. We haven't hit that magic number yet where it starts to burst the bubble or whatever.
Well, the people that are expanding here, the Han group there, they've been buying up brew pubs. They bought the Heart of Thistle, and they put an offer for the Rogue's Roost
up
in Halifax. So they're slowly taking over that scene. in Nova Scotia and PEI. So
So they're going to be like your version of Mill Street. Mill Street only owns 2 so far, but they're in Toronto and Ottawa, so the 2 biggest markets you're really going to get around here.
Most of their beers are probably on par with most of Mill Street sort of middle-of-the-road beers as well. So that'd probably be a good analogy, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah, we're at 243 right now. We have another. By this time next year, they project another 45 to open.
Wow.
We're getting to the point now, and I've said it before to other Ontario breweries and brewers and beer bloggers and all that, that we're going to have to start weeding out the people that aren't in it for making good beer, and it's going to happen. Because what's going to happen is bloggers are going to start jumping on the new breweries because the new brewery's out. Let's see what they have. Oh my God, what is this shit? And you're going to find half of them that won't say anything because they don't want to make an enemy, and then you'll have some that will actually write up what they actually think.
So do you think a brewery like Trafalgar will fall by the wayside?
I don't know. Trafalgar's been around for so long that I think he's just going to always be there just because of what he does. And he might not make any of his own beers anymore, but until they get rid of contract breweries, he's probably going to be big because he's going to be filled with contract brewers.
So he's going to sit there like a malignant tumor that they can't remove. Otherwise, it might cause too much bleeding on the brain and kill the patient.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? When Paul got mad at me, Paul from Railway City, with my comments I had made, and they weren't aimed at his brewery, but it was in a topic about his brewery. So he decided that instead of reading what I said, he was just going to decide that it was about him. But we were talking about the Double Dead Elephant and how it was $11 a bottle, and whether or not that was value for what you're getting because of the fact that you can get arguably the best double IPA in Ontario for $6 a bottle. And then we started going down our chats talking about other things like points that he got on Beer Advocate and everything else. And one of my comments after all that was, first, don't take anything Beer Advocate says to heart, because this was all different beer bloggers doing this talk and beer industry people. And then I'm like, truthfully, I think that the OCB needs to have a quality segment, much like the VQA. VQA is our basically our OCB for the wineries. And I guess he took that as I was saying that his brewery has no quality because he got angry about it. But so did the OCB, and the OCB I'm sure is the one that ratted me out because the OCB girls are like, this is our standards, and they're posting it all. And I'm like, well, that's great that that's your standards. But I can name you off the top of my head 4 of your breweries that do not follow your standards and get angry when customers ask why their beer is painted and why their beer tastes like butter or why their beer has off flavors or fruity or like fruit notes and vegetable notes and this and that. And basically off the top of my head, Lake of Bays, Trafalgar, Ramblin' Road, and what was the other one I was going to say? Fuck, I can't even remember it now. But those were the main 3, and then there was one more. Oh, what's the OCB? You guys talk. I'm going to the OCB site for a second.
Blah, blah, blah.
How's it going, Matt?
What's going on? What are you guys talking about?
Oh, we're bitching about people and shit like that, you know.
It's my favorite fucking subject, man. People are the worst thing ever invented in mankind ever.
People are the worst.
They are.
Worst thing invented in mankind is the whole fucking stuff.
The what?
Well.
Okay. Silence while everybody sits here and waits for.
Yeah, you guys are supposed to be talking for me.
Yeah, whatever.
Since you're late into the conversation, give us the worst and the most disappointing beers you've had recently.
The worst and the most disappointing beer I had recently. Let's see. You know what I had, and you guys might, Chad might know this. What the hell is it called? It was a peat smoked beer from up that way. My buddy brought back from college. What was it called?
Was it from Highlander?
I could look it up real quick on my phone, but besides that, honestly, you know what I think is one of the most overrated beers is KBS. I like the last couple KBSs I've had. They weren't bad, but they weren't infinitely close to what people think they are. So that kind of sucked. Like I said, it didn't suck, but it just was no good. The one I had that I was like, oh, Church Key, holy smoke.
Okay.
Did you ever have that? That was pretty bad.
Church Key, yes. Church Key's. I had it on tap years ago, and it was really good. And then it came out in the bottle, and I bought it, and then I wanted to break the bottle on the owner's head.
Yeah, it was in a bottle. It was just it was like a peat smoked.
Church Key's holy smoke.
A peat smoked. I forget what ale. Like it wasn't even a porter or whatever ale. It was just it was so much peat you couldn't even drink it. It was just peat moss in your mouth.
Church Key's holy smoke, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other brewery I was thinking of, sorry, I'm just going to throw this out there while I know it, Grand River. So go ahead.
Other than that, I mean, I've been on a good run of really good beer as of late. I'm trying to think if I've had anything that was really disappointing. Not really, honestly.
I can see where you're coming from with KBS, because KBS for a while it was the big dog in the yard, but there have been so many beers recently that have been coming out that have they've taken it up to a whole new plateau as far as like great imperial stouts go. So
it's also a matter of perspective. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have like, for example, like the 2013 Bourbon County Stouts were, for me, nothing like the 12s or 11s or 10s. So it wasn't a bad beer, but it just seemed like it was just different from what they originally came out with. So it's a matter of perspective. You know, it's not a bad beer. It's just not as good as it usually is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like for me, this year's Warlock. Last year's Warlock was awesome. I loved it. This year's Warlock, it's still drinkable. It's still good, but I sit there drinking it going, fuck Southern Tier. Stop expanding so much that you have to keep lowering your quality every year.
You know who actually, for me, is like a crapshoot based on like, I wouldn't say year to year, but they come in waves. Unibrew. Like Unibrew will go on a stretch where like 3-4 years it's like stellar, and then 3-4 years it sucks, and 3-4 years I'm not a big fan. It seems like, I don't know if they get bad yeast or freaking whatever. You know what I mean? It just seems like they don't have a good quality control program going on there or whatever. I have no idea.
In all honesty, they shouldn't have any problems because they are owned by Sleeman and Sapporo. So they're owned by a giant guy who should be able to get them the same stuff all the time. I don't know. I buy the stuff. I buy at least one case of Unibrew a year, but I rotate what I'm buying, either Trois Pistoles or Maudit or La Fin de Monde. So I never have the same thing all the time. So I don't actually notice that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it seemed I wrote them off for about a 4 or 5 year stretch, and then I went back and I tasted.
I know when they were doing everything in the big bottles, they seemed to go downhill. It was like I don't know if they cut things down, like ingredients down, to make the bigger bottles more cost effective for the owner brewery. But when everything was in big bottles, they seemed to take a step back, and then when they came back with some big bottles and some little bottles again, they seemed to have came back to where they were.
It could also be a crap beer like explosion thing, because it seemed like Unibrew was in line with like when everything got super popular. Yeah. It seemed like they were getting bigger, so they were trying to like step it up to where they were going to be like, I can get Unibrew in any place I go to, like around here, grocery stores, whatever. So it seemed like they were trying to make that jump. Maybe they were stretching themselves a little thin. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, it could be. We got some more comments here. Wow, we're really getting comments tonight. Cyrax says, bro, I got a bottle of Warlock and Witchwood Black Witch. Suck my horn.
The Black Witch is the one I can't get. The Warlock I have 3 bottles of right now. Fucker.
And Mike Roach says, worst beer he had recently was Bavaria 8.6 Red. Yeah, that would be
that's a horrible beer.
Although, with all due respect, it was still better than their blonde, which is true. Most disappointing beer was Innocent Gun Lager. Not terrible, just meh.
I agree with that. I mean, Innocent Gun Lager is a lager. Why pay the extra money for the Innocent Gun name when it's not barrel aged and you can get the exact same thing for half the price?
actually, most of Innocent Gun in a bottle has been a disappointment for me.
Have you tried the Innocent Gun original in a can? Get your buddy to bring that back from Ontario for you.
No, I haven't.
Brett says 50 best beers in Toronto is a thing. We have about 2 great beers, he says.
You have to get out and drink some more there, Brett.
Winter is Coming says, having Muskoka's Harvest Ale right now, I noticed that Rhino didn't think very highly of it a few years back. Curious if you've had it this year.
I'll tell you the complete and honest truth, Winter is Coming, when it comes to beer and the amount of money I have to spend on beer, which isn't all that much. When I've had it a couple of years in a row and didn't really like it each year, and it comes out as a $10 bottle, I just walk past it. There's so many other beers. Like today, I was at the LCBO. I spent my $30 allowance on beer, and it was all beer I haven't had. And there was 2 beers looking at me that I haven't had this year that were both $11.90, like $10.95 and $11.95, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay it for it. I'm not going to, because I have these 5 beers that I haven't had that I can buy.
Mike Roach also says, just a quick question about Bellwoods. Was Bring Out Your Dead just a one-off, or will they make it again?
It was a one-off, but they did make it again.
Yeah, he's thinking about moving to Ontario in the new year.
Where are you coming from?
Yeah, where are you coming from?
Bellwoods Bring Out Your Dead was a one-off for their 1-year anniversary. They just made it again. I do believe that it just came out or it's getting released very soon.
Oh, it is. Because, I mean, I've heard you guys talk about it a ton, so had my friend trying to track one down for me.
He can only get it if he goes to Bellwoods.
He apparently goes to school with some guy whose girlfriend works there 65 different directions of Kevin Bacon style shit. You know what I mean? So, who knows?
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
That beer sells out usually, from what I hear, in like the same day it comes out. So they have like a 4-bottle limit on it. And
Bylog says, I was at Trafalgar the other day on the way back from Nickelbrook. I was surprised that they distill and infuse spirits. I bought a sample size of their pumpkin-infused vodka, and I quite enjoyed it.
I did not know that they had a distilling license. I thought that Mill Street was still the only brewery with a distilling license. So that's interesting. That's actually fairly new then. They haven't been distilling for very long. I didn't know that they did. See, I'm learning something new right now. See, I don't give Michael Arnold any credit. I don't pay any attention to him, really.
Oh, jeez, we've got comments coming in here. John from Kingston says, cheers. Hello, John. Hope you get your computer back up. Yeah, hope you get your computer back up and running so we can get you on here to fall asleep on the hangout again. Cyrax says, my buddy brought back a porter for me that in his recent trip to Israel. He's had other craft beers from Israel that were surprisingly amazing. Craft beer is really going nuts everywhere right now. That's cool.
A porter from Israel. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah. Bylog says, I also wasn't crazy about Warlock. This year's release was the first I had. Prefer Pumpkin by a fair margin. He says, Bring Out Your Dead is being re-released, but they haven't announced the exact release date. And Oh Hi Kyle says he's drinking a St. Ambrose oatmeal stout. Had my first back when I was 17. What were your first stouts?
I'm sure most people will say
Guinness. Yeah.
Guinness was my first stout. But, I mean, you got to remember, that was, 15 years ago? There wasn't that many choices out there.
I'm trying to think of what the next stout would be. I mean, like, after Guinness 20 years ago, what would be the next stout you would actually drink?
St. Ambrose was my second one.
You know, I think it might have been, too. I think St. Ambrose Oatmeal Stout might have been my second stout.
Guinness and St. Ambrose were the only two you could find in Nova Scotia for the longest time until Garrison brought out their Martello Stout.
No, my second stout, here's going back, and my second stout was actually Trafalgar's smoked oatmeal stout, which I don't believe they make anymore.
I'm guessing, but mine was probably a Fuller's product. It was probably a Fuller's some kind of stout.
Did they even make a stout? I don't even know if they do.
I'm just thinking, I'm like, did they make, maybe not, I don't know. I'm just assuming that because it was widely distributed. You know what I mean? I mean, what's old engine oil is an ale, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Guinness is widely available. Beamish and Murphy's are occasionally wildly available in Canada, depending on the market.
I've
Maybe
never had English.
Boddington's, maybe?
Yeah, but that's not a stout.
Yeah, not really.
That's shaving cream. That's a lager of shaving cream in it.
Yeah.
My first stout's probably Pickering's Timberhawk.
Oh yeah.
How about you, Jim?
No, it was Guinness for me. I was trying to remember the second one. I can't remember the second one, unless it was a recent one like Lee said, Martello Stout or one of the craft ones there.
Stouts really died. Stouts really died a serious death for a lot of years. So it's. I mean, they're only really came back in the last 15 to 20 years. So.
Yeah.
See what you guys have made me do? I was going to try and save all of these since they're good until 2023.
Oh, I feel really bad for you, Chad. I really do.
Here I am.
You have to drink that tonight.
I am drinking it. I could have saved one of them until my son was 19. Could have had it together.
What is it again?
The Leafman's Cuvée Brut.
You see this, Chad? It's the smallest fucking...
It's the smallest fucking what?
Yeah, he's all frozen.
Yeah, this time it's leaf freezing. I'm awesome.
Oh, I was just saying I'm playing the world's smallest violin for you. Apparently, Google didn't like my violin.
No, I didn't like it. It didn't want to even listen to your playing the violin.
Oh, yeah.
All right, boys, I gotta jump out, so I'll talk to you guys later.
Alrighty.
All
And,
right, Jim.
like I said, Jim,
Take care.
If we're back from the trick-or-treating, I'll jump in with you guys this week.
All right, sounds good. See you then.
Even though I'm not from the Maritimes.
Well, it's okay. We've been expanding. We're trying to bring other people in. All right.
Bye, Jim.
Have a good night, Jim.
I'm powering through like one of the sweetest beers I've ever had in my life right now.
What are you drinking?
It's Avery's Pumpkin.
Oh, yeah.
Avery Brewing. It's a porter brewed with pumpkin and spices, aged bourbon barrels. Like I'm a sweet junkie, and this is ridiculous. Like it's like I could get through it, but I mean it's, ugh.
So they're going for that like sweet pumpkin pie taste, and then you stick it into bourbon barrels, which is going to impart more sweetness.
It's 17.2% alcohol.
Holy shit!
Yeah, yeah, in a 12-ounce bottle. So it's like, yeah, rocket fuel.
Yeah.
But it's actually really good. But the thing is, it's about a hair over a month old. So I mean, this is meant to be probably sit down for about a year. You know.
What was that story? What beer?
It's probably too fresh.
The Avery's Pumpkin. The Avery Pumpkin. It's like their pumpkin porter brewed aged in bourbon barrels. This is one of the sweetest beers I ever had in my life.
Like you just said, here's a question for you all. Do you think that a brewery should sell a beer before they think it's ready to be consumed?
As long as they tell the people beforehand, and then they can make their own informed decision on whether they want to buy it or not.
Yes, I think they should sell it before it should be consumed, because I think what would happen if they didn't do that is they'd start their own in-house aging and jack up prices.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that happens here too. Muskoka does that quite often.
The only other side of the coin is that if they do that, that starts a rush at the counters for people to buy it, and some people are going to miss out. But I mean that, tough luck. You didn't get it. You didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure all of us buy beer knowing that we're not going to drink it now. You know what I mean? And we're going to let it sit. So,
I buy beer to drink it.
I do too, but I have stuff that I try to save.
I think though it would. The best possible thing is to have a beer that is good, even if you have it fresh. But if it will get better if you're patient with it, and so you take like a Chimay Grand Reserve, you can have it fresh, and it's excellent fresh. It's an excellent beer, but if you do have the patience to age it for like 3 years, you're really going to be rewarded in the end. So.
And there's also the fact that you aged it. Like when you you bought it, you saved it, you brought it out, and then there's like that little bit inside of you that's like, yeah, man, I saved this freaking beer myself. I went out and got it and saved it. and that's kind of cool.
But if you release a mess of a beer that has to be aged to be actually anywhere decent, that's a bit of a slap in the fucking face, I think, in a way. It's like, here, buy this beer, but don't you dare open it until 3 years from now because it's going to taste like shit.
What was it? With GLB when they made the Beard of Zeus. Age this for a year before you drink it. It was great fresh. I mean, I loved it. I gave it a 10 out of 10, I do believe, or a 9.75. But I'm not waiting for a year before I drink something if I bought it.
But that's the thing. Like this beer right now, I'm drinking it. It's super sweet. It's a really good beer. There's a difference between a beer that's good that needs time to be stellar, and then a beer that's no good that will be good in like a year or two. So it's still that this is like really sweet, but I'm still enjoying it, even though I said I'm powering through it. You know what I mean? There's a difference for me.
Well, we still have 12 viewers. You guys have any questions for us?
Yeah, just keep asking questions. By the way, Chad, are we... I just going from a question that Joe asked me on Facebook. Are we going to be in a future episode here soon doing top 10 macro lists, even though you were and some people don't want to participate?
I'm perfectly fine doing it. I mean, you got to remember, when I say top 10 macro lists, I meant top... I did reiterate top 10 owned by a macro, because, I mean, that's something people look at. They look at a beer and they go, oh, you're owned by Molson Coors, or you're owned by Miller, or you're owned by... I can't drink it, you're going to be horrible. There's a lot of great beers owned by big guys, and it would be an interesting list, I think, to talk about, because it's true. The big guys do own some companies that make some great beer. There are some great beers that are umbrellas.
Yeah. So, do we maybe want to shoot for that next week?
Do you guys want to do that?
I'd be willing to do it. I'd love to do it.
I'd love to do both. I'd love to split it up, owned by macro and then just straight macro. Like, do a top 10 list of just, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could make a top 10 list from just Bourbon County's line. You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to go by that. But then, like, do, like, your top 10 of, like, pure macro. We'd have to say where Sam Adams falls. That's why we'd have to figure out where that happens.
Well, if you want to go by the American law, they still fall under the craft moniker. So
I don't know if I could come up with 10, 5 maybe, for each.
Hey, if it's only 5, whatever.
I could probably come up with 30 if I probably would have a short list of like 30 when you think about it. I mean, Lef, Merid Seuss, Unibrew, Goose Island, Hogarden.
Yeah, half the stuff Anheuser-Busch fucking owns or AB InBev owns in Europe.
There's some great beers. There are some fucking Witchwood beers are really good.
Yeah. I say we do it. I say we okay. So let's. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a top 10 if you can't get 10 on your list, and that's fine. But
hell, I believe Lindemans is owned by AB InBev or somebody like that. At least their distribution company is.
Yeah. So let's get two lists, macro and macro owned for next week.
So minimum 5, as many as you can come up with.
Yeah.
Between 5 and 10. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It shall be done.
It shall be written.
And I mean, I think it's a good thing to do because it shows not a pure snobbery. Because I mean, we're all craft beer drinkers. We all support craft beer. We all push craft beer. But there are some good beers that aren't craft. I mean, there are. You can't deny it. There are.
No, absolutely. And situationally too. It's like you know, I love sweet. I love high ABV. But if I'm gonna throw a barbecue in my backyard for 5 hours, I'm gonna start off with something small, and I'm gonna drink that for 4 hours. What am I gonna start off with a bunch of really tasty high ABV stuff and be face down in a gutter somewhere by noon? You know what I mean?
Like the worst face down on your barbecue.
Yeah. So it's like there's enjoyment for situational enjoyment. You know.
Yeah. And
if I can find a beer that tastes like Utopias that's 1% alcohol, I'm done. I'll buy that all day. You know, but it's not the case.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting, though, come up with a list of actually good stuff from macro companies. Unlike some people I saw in a hangout earlier making apologist arguments for a really bad beer and harping on the fact that they have great quality control. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Their shit tastes like shit consistently. That's awesome.
This is consistently nutty,
Mm. Let's see, we got a couple. Oh, geez, we got more comments just jumping in here. Let's see here. Joe says KBS is still an awesome beer, but it doesn't compare for me personally with the upper echelon of barrel-aged beers available nowadays. Plus, the fact you need to kill and or know people to just grab a bottle or two makes it even less enticing. I'll take Backwoods Bastard over KBS all day, and I can find 4-packs all over the place around here when it's released. And it's about $14 a 4-pack, which is great for a barrel-aged brew. Mike Roach says Yukon is a beer wasteland, LOL. You probably are even a bigger beer wasteland.
What do you have? You have, like, the Yukon Brewery and, what is it, Dark Star or something like that?
Bylog says, technically not a stout, but the first beer I had of style since I got into craft beer was the GLB Bourbon Barrel Aged Robust Porter. It was great, although after that, most regular stouts porters I drink are disappointing. And he says it's a double-edged sword because I would prefer to buy beer when it's ready to drink, but I don't want to pay a premium for them to age it for me. Average Joe said breweries should definitely sell their beer before it's ready because being ready is in the eye of the beholder. Matt might find that beer too sweet and needs some time, but I've seen people who love it fresh. Also, just think wine. There are a lot of wines that are created to be aged. Craft beer is going down that road, prices included. That's a good point. Bylog says, in my experience, I find aging beer smooths it out and sometimes adds some subtle flavors, but I think most beers meant to be aged are just fine to drink fresh. A fresh Amsterdam Double Tempest is only slightly more boozy than the aged one-year version. And Scott Price's Koning Ludwig Weissbier is a great beer, and it's owned by Warsteiner, a pretty big macro brewery in Germany. I agree. Koning Ludwig is an excellent Weissbier.
And that's the thing, like, some beer is supposed to be aged, and it tastes good. It's subjective, that whole argument about, like, whether it's good or bad or whatever. It's a subjective thing.
Oh yeah, I personally like a fresh Orville more than an aged Orville myself.
I like no Orville over any Orville. That's just me, though.
Hey, you're like, you can't have all the Orville.
Nick just bought all the Orval, yeah.
I bought more, like, what did I buy? Like, 20 bottles of it. 2 in Lee's box, and I drank 2 last weekend. I got 16 left, and I'm pretty sure they're all 2014 bottles.
Never mentioned Nick's my favorite person. I just want to put that out there.
Say that now.
He'd send me Orval, and you'll always be my favorite person.
It's only not going to happen for much longer, More before it's all gone. I think I still have a couple left.
I'm going to send you a box of albino semen.
What would I do? I don't think I would chug that.
I think the nose is slightly ammonia, and it tastes a little salty.
Yeah. It kind of racist, really. So white. So incredibly white.
Oh no, it's not white. It's totally beige. It's awful.
Oh yeah. Oh, Ethan finally found the link. Awesome.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing, sir?
Good. No, I got the Google Plus invite. My dog ran away, so.
It didn't eat your homework, or?
You're getting the glare now. His dog ran away. Have some sympathy for the man.
Yeah.
Catch the dog? Okay, he didn't catch the dog either.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I had 2 videos on at the same time. I'm sorry, guys.
What kind of dog do you have?
It's a King Charles Spaniel.
Or rather, what kind of dog did you Did you
hold-
have?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I have. No, I caught him. Yeah, he's just like it's like a cocker spaniel, only a little smaller. So,
Do you flourish your pinky when you hold it up, or?
no.
Okay.
We have a mutt and we have a Scottish Terrier, and the Scottish Terrier is an escape artist, and we call her Black Lightning because once she gets out, you can't catch her. Until she wants to come back, she's gone.
When I hear Black Lightning, I just imagine coming back to America, and I see like Arsenio Hall stamping his foot on stage. Black Lightning! Black Lightning!
I'm gonna need more beer. All because I broke that one. I can't believe it broke. There's only 5 bottles left in Ontario now because I broke it. Good thing I own the other 5.
You're a bit of a war criminal, really.
It snapped off.
Ugh.
Average Joe immediately pipes in. Nice to see Ethan here. I just wanted to mention that if you start putting jump cuts in your videos, I'm going to flip out. I saw that Captain Morgan review, and for shame, good sir, for shame.
There's my broken bottle.
I was just getting tired of. I don't know. It's just too long, I guess, for some parts of the videos, but just figured I could dumb shit out.
Malarkey. Post
Yeah.
that shit.
Like I just posted my Sierra Nevada torpedo review, and I spent like 10 minutes looking for my bottle opener. I couldn't even find it, but I left the camera rolling.
You can edit shit like that out, but I mean, like, just edit for content. You know what
No,
I mean?
yeah.
See, I'm glad that I'm not the only person that's lost my bottle opener in the past.
I was like all set up, all ready to go, and then I'm just like, I had like such a great intro. I got the line down and everything, and I was just like, fuck, where's my bottle opener?
I've got like 6 strategically placed all over my room, so if I lose one, I know exactly where to go for another one.
I have like 50 bottle openers. You guys have been in my basement. I have a whole jug full of bottle openers.
But Chad, you're blind.
Uh-oh. I have a huge jug of bottle openers. Huge jug.
Blind.
Have you seen huge jugs?
Nick comes back in.
Nicholas Pickles. So next week we'll do that. We'll do the top 5 beers owned by a macro or produced by a macro, and we'll top 10 if we can. That'll take a little bit of thinking here, and I'll have to look up some of the stuff to see if they're actually independent or macro owned.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, once you make a list and kind of fact check it like every responsible journalist does, you know, you'll be able to figure out what's what, you know?
Well, yes, like drinking beer can save you from radiation poisoning. It's a big blog post here.
Really?
Apparently.
So I'm
If you-
safe from radiation for 1,000 years.
Yeah, if you've been exposed to a certain type of radiation, you should waste no time getting decontaminated by having a beer. The time-honored way of dealing with tritanium constantium from the early days of Los Alamos. Oh, what? I don't even fucking know what the type of radiation that is.
Gazoon tight, you sneezed halfway through that sentence.
Yeah.
Well, that's a game mechanic they should implement in Fallout 4. Drink beer, lower your reds.
It's exactly what I thought. I was like, I didn't see people in Battlestar Galactica run around on Caprica chugging beers.
Well, they probably didn't know. They didn't know. They could build flying cities in the sky, but they didn't know that beer would get rid of the fucking radiation poisoning.
Those bastards.
Bastard.
Hey, did you guys see that Greg's got his bottle openers for sale now on YouTube?
No, really?
On his PayPal? Yeah, so get them now.
Yeah, I won't get him.
You know what? Cool kid. Why? You know what? I started a what the fuck is that? Those stores on fucking I started a shirt store online, mostly so I could get shirts made for myself. And it's always there in my video things. If you want to buy a shirt, there it is. I have it at the lowest price I can get. I get 5 cents a shirt because I made them basically to make them for myself and my friends because Paul wasn't doing his screen printing yet. And I don't go into every video going, yo, buy my shirts for this much. You're a fucking beer reviewer. Who cares?
Well,
Hey guys, buy my bottle opener, guys. Bells.
I knew this was gonna happen once I was gonna bring this up too.
Let's see what's in the fridge.
We're gonna have a Greg off right now.
Let's see what's in the fridge today, guys. Oh, it's all my bottle openers. A fine selection of bottle openers.
He should do that. That should actually be the way he does it. Let's see what's in the fridge today.
Yeah.
To open the fridge and just his shirts hanging and bottle openers all around. That's
Oh,
what
look at these bottle openers clinging and clanging all around. Steel driving man today, guys.
See, when I did my store, it was Spreadshirts, my Spreadshirt shop. I did everything that I wanted to buy. I did a fucking baby onesie so my kid could walk around with my albino rhino beer review shirt on it, and I did girl
That would
thongs.
get a lot more attention.
Yeah, I did female thongs so that my wife could wear my face on her vagina, and things like that, things that I thought were hysterical. But
Well,
not once did I say, hey, buy this.
Yeah.
If you want it, it's there. If you don't want it, I don't care because I made it so that I can get the stuff that I can't get myself.
right.
Hey guys, buy my shit and I might reply to your comments on my videos with something more than cheers. I might hold a discussion with you online.
The only reason why I think we're all laughing here is because that's like 100% true.
No, he still wouldn't talk to you.
No. Cheers, thanks. I appreciate it, guys.
No, I just think, like, why not? I mean, if he's making money off of it, I'm not going to knock him for it. I mean, he's making money off of his shirts and bottle openers.
But, I mean, the thing is, it's pretty obvious he doesn't give a shit about the people who actually watch his videos.
No,
So that's
yeah.
the thing.
No, yeah, that we can all agree on for sure.
I mean,
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not knocking him for selling the stuff. I'm mostly knocking the people that are buying it. Like, why are you caring? Because he doesn't say a thing to anybody. He doesn't acknowledge anything. He gets angry if you say something that's not to what he believes in. It's...
I'm going to have to try that.
Here's the difference. I actually bought a shirt from Reckless Eating, their Zion mainframe gaming site. Now, the people from Reckless Eating, Matt Zion and them, they actually engage their fans. They actually talk to them like real people, and they don't act like fucking douchebags. Greg, he doesn't. I mean, I want to support a channel I like that actually, gives a shit about the people who support them. I know that's a really alien concept in this day and age, but I mean, Greg, he doesn't give a shit. He just fucking drinks beer in front of camera and makes his fucking standard fucking video every time, and he doesn't engage anyone in the comment section. And it's like, and then he gets incredibly flustered when like the fucking Wiseman's committee makes fun of him. It's like, dude, what is your problem?
Now, I mean, you all know I try to watch as many videos as I can. I try to,
Right.
I do try to answer every single comment that's put out there. Sometimes I don't get to them for weeks, but I try to answer it. Well, I shouldn't say weeks. The most I've ever gone is like 7 days. But I try to answer every single thing. Sometimes I don't have much to say, but every single thing is cheers, cheers, cheers.
I
And then
changed
someone gets inventive and goes Prost every now and then.
No, that's me right there. That's what I say.
But I mean, it's just.
Or I'll say salute in Spanish. It'd be like
You'll sit there and you'll look at channels that are huge, like Lee was talking about, reckless eating, and even to some point, Epic Mealtime will respond to a lot of people too. Like there are channels that are gigantic that respond to people, and there are channels that are gigantic that don't, and there's channels that are mediocre size that don't answer anyone. You sit back and you go, how do you like this whole thing, this whole YouTube thing, this whole video thing is about interaction. If you're not interacting with the person, they don't give a shit. They don't.
Well, that's like, I feel like that's one way of building your fan base too, with like, not just with your beer tubers alike, but, you know, like other people as well who just like stop by and watch your video. So.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep people engaged. Even I understand that, and I'm a fucking introvert, and I don't talk to people a lot. But at the same time, I still try to engage people on my videos. I mean, I try to answer every question. I mean,
right.
every comment. I mean, it's
intelligent questions.
Well, even not the intelligent ones. It's just like, I mean, it doesn't take much effort. It really doesn't. I mean, I'm sure Greg gets a lot of comments, but I mean, come on, dude. You're answering cheers to every fucking comment you get. Like,
yeah,
fuck.
Yeah.
It's like,
and you were saying. You were saying,
ahead,
Ethan,
Matt.
you say Prost, you'd be like, you're joking, that's what you say, but that's not what you say. That might end what you say. There's a difference between the ending or beginning something with a specific way, but there's more to it than that, which is the point of the whole thing.
I know. I try to write as much as I can for when people leave me comments, or if I leave comments for people as well. And I try not to say so much like, you know, oh, I haven't had this beer. You guys should give me a beer mail or whatever. Like, I try not to say that as much, but I'm just like, keep my eye out for that one, you know, or something like that, just to keep it alive, you know. So.
I mean, yeah, because if a person's like, they take the time to watch your fucking video and like it and leave you a comment, it's like, what does it hurt you to give them a fucking comment back, a response of some sort of?
Yeah, because honestly, I take good and bad comments, and sometimes I enjoy the bad comments, but I'll take any comments. I'll leave it on there too. I won't even take it off.
I've taken off maybe 5 comments in my entire time up. Bad comments, I don't care. Make a bad comment. I actually have on our Facebook page a troll of the week. Any more comments there, Lee?
Oh, let's take a look.
Speaking of comments.
Let's see. Holy shit. Let's see. It's Average Joe says it's never too long. Never. Fucking jump cunts equal horseshit. Absolute horseshit. You're not just douchebag. You are no reason to go down that road. Joe says Greg has openers for sale. Cheers, cheers, cheers. You asked a question. Fucking cheers. Richard is this really live? If so, how do you do it? If you have a Google Plus account, go out and start a live hangout. It's not that, well, it actually is kind of difficult. But
no, don't listen to Lee. It's black magic. Don't listen.
That's right. It's alchemy. Winter is coming. Which seasonals do you look forward to the most throughout the year?
For me personally, which seasonals do I look forward to the most throughout the year? One I was looking forward to every year to the Innocent Gun pack, the Christmas pack, only because I got a new glass out of it, even though I have thousands of them already. The Hobgoblin pack, because I got a new glass, even though I have thousands of them already. The Pumpkin every year I look forward to, but I'm looking less and less forward to it each year now. Seasonals I'm looking forward to. Anything else? Radlers now. I've learned that I really like Radlers. So really, summer, fall, and winter are the seasons I really care about. Spring, I don't care.
Mostly for me, it's specific beers. It's North Coast Old Stock, which usually comes out like in spring, and Guten Carlos Emperor Blue, their Kaiser Blue, which comes out in February. Those are like the two big things for me.
For me, it's just winter and fall beers, generally, like seasonals, whatever they are. I'm generally interested. But it's like the seasonals seem to change up now in Nova Scotia so much that it's like you never know what you're going to get anymore. Like for a while, it was very you could always count on what you were going to get from the big breweries here in Nova Scotia, the big craft breweries. But now it's like it's almost a toss-up. Like they change up stuff so much now. It's like, okay, I just want the fall and winter seasonals just to see what they're like. So
I like beer season. That's my favorite. What was that 360, 365?
Yeah.
I like beer.
yeah. Anyone else want to answer that?
I'm gonna go off the limb here. I'm gonna say springtime would be a good time for beers. I just like saisons, and I don't know if barley wines actually come out in the springtime, but around here that's when they come out. But but yeah, or summertime, I guess, for the IPA for me. But
It's a lot of times it's hard to distinguish what comes out and when it gets to your area too. Like for me, a lot of times, like old stock comes out like March, but I didn't get it in my area. It's an old ale, so it doesn't matter. Age is a good thing, but it didn't hit my area until like a month ago. So there's all like it can fluctuate. That's why I went beer to beer as opposed to time, because sometimes I get it early, sometimes I get it late.
Well, yeah, that's understandable. Like here in Nova Scotia, we are actually like a slave to seasonals. Like seasonals come out right on that season, because the market's so like enclosed and small. So it's like, it doesn't have to travel across the fucking country to get to us or whatever, right? Anyone else?
I'd have to say for my favorite seasonals, it's probably going to be like fall and winter. I mean, I like harvest beers, not so much pumpkin beers, but like people making harvest beers, like Pickering's Harvest or the Oktoberfest. I know everybody here hates Marzens, and I'm the only one that actually kind of likes them. I like seeing them too. Not so much the pumpkin stuff.
I like them. That's why I say Prost.
There you go, Prost. For winter beers, there's also like Pickering's Winter Warmer. I haven't seen Garrison's Winter Warmer in the last couple of years, but and there's also like Martello Stout from Garrison and a number of other ones that usually come out once a year around Christmas time. And I think, technically speaking, La Trappe Quadruple is a seasonal, which I hope comes here again in the wintertime.
What about you, Dale?
I like anything new, but I prefer the winter with the stouts and the porters that come out. And, spring isn't bad when they bring out some of those new IPAs and stuff. But, yeah.
Right on. Beer Zerker, are you here?
How's my volume today? Am I sounding all right?
You sound good.
Optimal.
Awesome.
Tell us
Cool.
what seasonals you are most interested in, sir.
Winter ales, My Box, and Fest Box. Those are my favorites,
All right. Go back to the comments here then, really quick. Average Joe says, that's not true, Chad. Him and Joe D are best friends, besties, in reference to Craig, I guess. He says, another way to build your fan base, Ethan? Not using fucking jump cuts. God damn.
Hold on, let me get my notepad. I'll write that down real quick.
And Aaron says, I saw the cartoons rant on beer readiness, and I've seen the same opinion voiced numerous times on your channel and elsewhere. Essentially, don't release a beer before it's ready. I have to completely disagree with that line of reasoning. Holy shit, he's going into it here. For one, most companies aren't in the business of holding on to stock product that costs a shitload. Expect the cost to be generously passed on to us. Secondly, there's already a well-established model in the wine business of buying and hanging on to bottles. The point there is that if you want to wait long enough to see if a wine has improved or is made during a great year, you will pay the premium, in large part due to point one. Beer changes may or may not suit a particular drinker. It's obviously far easier to relish a fresh beer and let people decide, or release a fresh beer and let people decide for themselves. And finally, he says, that doesn't preclude the fact that many beer drinkers agree that certain styles take extremely well to aging, and when a beer maker mentions cellaring in their literature, that is them making an effort to acknowledge that segment of the beer market, and also maybe turn some people onto the fact that aging is possible.
Wait, go back to the beginning of that. Did he say he was against what we had to say? Because I think we all agree that it should be up to the person buying the beer.
I think someone may have came out with a lot. It might have been me actually that came out saying that a beer should be released ready to drink, whether it's able to be aged or not. I mean, that might be what it is.
Okay, I got you.
I think that's the key little bit though. Ready to drink, and that is a debatable comment too. Ready to drink. When is it ready to drink? But at the same time, if a brewery's bringing it out and saying it won't be the way I want it to be for another year and a half.
And it's like one of those things. Like for me, the perfect age for a Dogfish 120 is about 2 to 3 years old. Most people would say they like that as fresh as humanly possible. I like a Dogfish 120 with about 2 to 3 years.
120 fresh. And there wasn't much hops in it, so I would think that aging it would make it nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it has such a nice malt character to it on top of the hops. For me, you know what I mean? Like age does it well, so it's like it's almost the same thing as beer. It's a subjective thing. You know what I mean? To where you're not going to get a complete or direct equivalent answer, you know?
And I kind of understand where Aaron's going with that, but at the same time, when you're selling somebody a beer that's going to cost them $10 to $15, you shouldn't be saying spend this $10 to $15 and don't get your response for years. I know wine does it, but do we really want our bottles of beer to go up to $20 a bottle and everything else? Because that's what wine does, so why can't we do it with beer?
Sure. But that's also a thing, like, to associate beer with wine is always, like, that thing where, like, it's not, like, I have purple and I have numbers. Like, beer and wine, they're similar, but you can't treat them as the same thing.
Well, if you think about it, it's like wine, like people who make wine, it's like they have one main ingredient, but with beer, you have a bunch of different ingredients and an aspect of, them making it and everything, but...
There's only one main ingredient in beer, and that's love.
Oh, that was a comment that was made once by.
Really?
There was.
Tastes salty.
Merrick. Merrick is the brewmaster for Steam Whistle here in Ontario. Merrick learned to brew at Pilsner Urquell. That's where he started becoming a brewmaster. And then they brought him over to Canada to make Steam Whistle. And he went on radio and he said Steam Whistle has 5 ingredients. And I was doing an interview with Cam. Cam's the owner of Steam Whistle, and Cam's like, I was on the sidelines going, "What are you talking about? There's 4 ingredients." And then on the radio he goes, "Water, malt, hops, yeast, and love."
That's the big L word. What is the best find that you found at a store, like to go shopping for beer locally? Because I always stumble upon it every once in a while, and I was at a local Giant Eagle, and I was walking around, and I was just looking at the beer. I wasn't even going to buy any, and I found a 2011 Stone barley wine, and I was like, this can't be right. I'm like, this shouldn't even be on the shelves, but...
In Ontario, you're not really going to find that because they do get pulled off the shelf after a certain date. Unless you're buying stuff at the beer store, because the beer store will keep it there forever. If you're going with the beer store, I found a case of 2-year-old Moosehead once.
How'd that taste?
Not very good.
Look at the one out of my cellar.
There's a secret place close to me that carries a bunch of really good old age beer, and about last year this time, I pulled 2 cases of Sam Adams Triple Bock out of there. Sam Adams Triple Bock for retail price, so $112 for a case of Sam Adams Triple Bock, 1997 Sam Adams Triple Bock. That was the best I ever did.
I think I got an old Brewdog Paradox, Isle of Iran. If I read the date on there correctly, I think it was from 2011 or some shit. I don't even know it's that old. That's just the way I read the date. Tasted pretty smooth.
I know, sometimes I'll just flip shit at the store. I'm like, oh my god! There's only 3 left, I buy them all.
Curiosity for you there, Dale. Are you going to be trying this whippersnipper stuff that opens this week?
If If I can get out to it, yeah, I will try it. They're out in Bell's Corners. I don't travel that far west ever. Like I haven't even went to the one that they just opened up in August, about 20 minutes from my house in Dominion City. I've been really busy with work, and I'm working on a project for myself, and so I just haven't had time. So he usually calls me and he's like, "Hey, do you need anything?" And I'm like, "Well, if you're going there, pick this up, and I'll trade you something." And that's usually what he does.
They're opening.
But,
They're opening tomorrow. Yeah, they're opening tomorrow. They say their lineup is going to be Root of Evil Pre-Prohibition Lager, Innishuck Canadian IPA, Black Sunshine Black Lager, FNA British IPA, and Carroll Amber Irish Red. Sorry, Irish Blonde. So you have a blonde, a lager, 2 IPAs, and a black lager. So fairly safe, but they could still be good. I mean,
yeah. And it's hard right now too, Chad, because there's a lot of breweries opening up here, like Whippersnipper.
Again, we went from like 120 breweries to 243 in like a year and a half.
And Dominion City opened up in August. They're opening up another one on I think it's Elgin Street, and it's in the basement. I think that one's Waller Street Brewing. And so there's so many opening up. It's so hard to, figure it out. One way out in Stittsville, there, Covered Bridge. So there's a lot opening up, and there's even one that opened up way out Pembroke, I think it is, Square Timber Brewing, and he has a nice lineup too. So if I can get out to them, and I definitely will give them a try, and I kind of feel bad when I go to these places because a lot of them open up with the big growlers, right? And I'm like, well, I want to try it, but then I want other people to try it, but I don't want to send a growler. Like, it's kind of you know what I mean? It's a waste, you never know when it's going to get there, and it's also a lot of beer and it's heavy.
Yeah. Okay, here's some beer news out there. Some of this stuff will be Canada-wide, some of it won't. Here is the first one. Sleeman's Oak Aged Ale debuts in the new Sleeman seasonal pack. So Sleeman's now has a Oak Aged Ale, much like, Oak Aged it says instead of Bourbon Barrel Ale. So it's a wood aged amber ale.
So what are they actually putting in barrels, or is it just wood staves in the?
1 second. This beer was inspired by the unique and appealing characteristics of toasted oak and cherry wood, offering Sleeman drinkers a new brew with a flavorful twist on a traditional ale. Something different but not overpowering. Toasted oak and cherry wood mellow this ale for a unique and complex wood character. It doesn't say if it's a barrel or not. It says oak age, so I'm going to guess staves or chips.
Yeah, either way, I'll fucking try it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm going to try and find that 12-pack.
It's 12 packs. Okay, that's.
Yeah, it'll be 3 of those, 3 Silver Creeks, 3 Honey Browns, and 3 Cream Ales. Usually is what.
Okay. Because we had the recent sampler pack that has their Bach or whatever in it, and it's like I'm not buying a 12-pack of that just to get the Bach.
Oh, it's my fucking fight every year. Sam Adams makes their chocolate Bach. It's the only like that. Their Double Bock and their Utopias are like the only 3 beers that I covet from them, and they only release like 1 in a 12-pack. It's the worst.
Yeah.
I thought they released the chocolate Bock in like a larger, like a bottle or something. The bomb.
That was 4 years ago. Prior to that, it came out in a big 25 with that like a pewter front, where it looked like a stamped like metal pewter medallion on the front. Those were delicious.
Okay.
Ugh, so good.
Another one. This one will get Joe going too. Now people that watch my show and are in on the Ontario beer scene know that Lake of Bays works with the NHL Alumni Association to make NHL alumni beers that are overpriced, and money goes to the NHL alumni. Stuff like Jake the Snake, Top Shelf Lager, other such things. Well, the Lake of Bays and the CFL alumni kick off partnership with Pigskin Pilsner. So they now work with the NHL Alumni Association and the CFL Alumni Association to make horrible beers. that people are going to buy because it's this. Wait. Pigskin Pilsner is being released in a limited run of 1.89-liter growlers that have been CO2 purged, giving them a shelf life similar to standard bottle beers.
Yeah.
Growlers
that
of Pigskin Pilsner will be available soon in Ontario at select LCBOs, as well as in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and possibly Manitoba.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole lot of something I have no interest in.
Yeah, it sounds like a whole lot of who fucking cares.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, honestly, we are not their market at all.
No, we aren't. I'm just bringing up news here. Here's some other news. This one is a big news. Molson Coors and Miller have settled their Canadian distribution dispute. In a joint press release issued this morning, Molson Coors Canada and SAB Miller announced that a settlement has been reached in their dispute over brand distribution rights. The fight began in early 2013, which tells you how long fucking court fights take, where SAB Miller announced plans to terminate a long-standing agreement with Molson Coors that allowed the latter company to brew and distribute brands including Miller Genuine Draft and Milwaukee's Best in Canada. I kind of laugh at that because a lot of SAB Miller beers are actually brewed by Sleeman's as well, so it's kind of funny that they brew and distribute for them while Sleeman does as well. Earlier this year, it appeared that the dispute would be going to court. I don't see why. I mean, if you don't want them to do it anymore, you should just be allowed to say you're not doing it anymore. But according to the brief statement released today, the companies have settled amicably their litigations, and as a result of the settlement, the rights to distribute Miller trademark brands in Canada will revert to SAB Miller effective April 1st, 2015. Oh, April Fool's Day, eh? That's
all I can say is fleas care not what giants do.
It's very true. I don't care, but it is beer news. It's beer news to read.
It is, yeah. I don't see how it has effect on anything, though, that really affects us to any degree. We do have some more comments here. Scott Price says, Joe D hardly interacts with his fan base either, at least not nearly as much as he used to, so Greg isn't the only beer tuber out there that does that shit. Not defending Greg, just saying I know you can't respond to everyone, especially with the amount of comments that Greg gets, but you should at least respond to a good portion of them with something more than cheers. And Average Joe agrees with that. Average Joe says his favorite seasonals are the fall-winter stuff. Backwoods Bastard and Bourbon County equal must-haves for him. Greg Bylog says even though he loves all the summer IPA releases, his favorite seasonals are fall pumpkin beers and the winter barrel-aged whales. Average Joe says, I did hear Berserker and Brad are all about Big Rock seasonals. It's a fucking pig. And he says, if a brewery is asking $10 to $15 for a bottle of beer and they feel it won't be ready for a year, then it's your choice to buy it or not. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. You, as the consumer, has the option.
Nobody's holding a gun to my head, but here's what's happening. People who are beer hipsters are jumping out and buying that shit, which is why the prices just keep raising. People that don't care about the beer are just out there going, hey, this is a beer that I've heard about that's new, I'm going to pay the money for it. This is the reason the beer prices just keep going. Not because the people that love beer are buying it, but because people that just want to be able to say they've had it or check it in on fucking Untapped or on Rate Beer or anything else are going out and buying it. That's the reason the beer prices just keep going up.
Okay, and let's get more angry here for a second. The greatest man who ever trolled just asked my favorite question of the night so far. How's Wheels doing, I wonder? LOL.
He still doesn't have a building. He still does not have a building.
No? That's awesome. And Average Joe says, fucking like a base. There's a CFL alumni? What the fuck?
I know, you made nothing anyway playing in the CFL. Why do you need an alumni association? But
Now,
I worked at fucking McDonald's on my off season, and I played the CFL during the season. Please give me some money.
But Chad, I mean, like you're talking about, like the hipsters or whatever you want to call them, like trumping shit. There should be some kind of test. Like, for example, like when I'm driving down the road and I want to do like 90 miles per hour and someone's blocking me, I have enough automobile skills to, or I feel like not one, I can drive as fast as I want, and two, I should be able to pull over anybody I want and tell them to get the fuck out of my way. There should be some kind of test where I could do that with beer, to where I could just be like, no, you don't get that. I just take that, and then I could go and distribute it like Robin Hood throughout this merry lands to everybody that deserves it. Is that righteous, or is that?
He made his comment earlier how you need to know or kill somebody to get KBS and stuff like that, and it's true. These beers get hyped. People that don't care about it go in and grab it. You'll see people whose wives who don't drink beer, or sisters or something, are there. I need to buy as much of this as I can for these people.
See, and the problem with. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna agree with Chad and just say it's the same way with KBS here and with Hop Slam too. I was there, Hop Slam lasted a day and it was gone.
See, and the problem in my area is not so much like hipsters or people who want to be ahead of the curve. The biggest problem in my area, northeastern Pennsylvania, is not distributors, but like to-go places or bars that curry favor. And then what they do is they get it and then like sandbag people on it and then only distribute it to people they want to and then drum up business from that. So it's not so much like a person that gets a bunch of it and then they're done. It's a bar that'll get like a couple cases of KBS and then put them on their menu at one bottle a piece for $12 a bottle and be like, like just try to like sandbag the general public like that.
Yeah, you get lots of different things that way. I mean, you know what? If you're going to sell it to, I think, and this is coming from a guy that works in the bar industry and all that, I really think the bar should mostly be tap stuff. It lasts longer. It doesn't really last longer, but it has a better turnaround. You sell a lot more of it because the price is better for the size you're getting. You should bottle. I don't know why people buy bottles at a bar. You go into a bar and you buy a bottle, like say. Look at Silversmith's Black Lager, $8.75 for a bottle, and it is a 650, so it's a bomber. $8.75 a bottle, or you can get a pint at 500 milliliters for $5. Which one's the better price? Why are you buying bottles at a bar? Because $8.75 is what they're selling their bottle for. So when a bar has a bottle, they're going to be selling it for like $10, $11, $12.
Yeah. I mean, like the bar markup is crazy. We have actually like a local restaurant around here that like is actually fantastic with markups. Like it's almost like a to-go place, but like they don't mark shit up crazy. But most places are gonna mark it up like nutty. So I don't know what I'm trying to say, other than it sucks.
People go to bars and buy expensive booze because they want to get laid, or they don't want to be accosted in the streets by cops. One or the other.
I think that I want to type that out and put that on a plaque.
I mean, why else would you pay that much money for a bottle of beer? Like, that's fucking retarded.
We've all done it, though. We've all done it.
Unless you're going to that bar specifically to buy a bottle of beer for a girl in hopes of taking her home that night, or dude, or however your sexual orientation goes, there's no other real rational reason to do it. Because,
I disagree.
I'd rather go for hard liquor because paying that much. I mean,
well, no, I mean like not that I've not tried to court women. You know what I mean? Like I've tried it before. But like all my high-end beer purchases have been for friends of mine. Like I've never tried to court a girl with beer. Because honestly, I want a girl who doesn't like good beer. That way she doesn't drink that shit. But that's just me.
That's a good point.
I want her to like everything but good beer.
You want her to be the one that likes...
I get martinis at the bar.
Yeah, you drink your coolers, sweetie. Here's your Smirnoff. Have that.
No, steer away from girls that drink martinis, whoever said martinis. Steer clear of girls who like martinis and tequila. 2 golden rules in all of
this. Yeah, because one is a gold digger and the other is a party animal, and you don't really want either of them.
Oh, you go home with them, you just don't hang out with them more than one night.
What if she's both? Like, what if she drinks both? And you gotta marry her.
I don't know.
Where'd this marriage thing come from?
Yeah, just keep her as a mistress or something instead.
Anyway, guys, I have to go to bed. I know tonight's early, but I have to go tonight. So to the people here on YouTube with us still, thank you for joining us. If you ever want in on the panel, it is an open invite. You just have to come, share a beer, talk beer with us. To the guys that showed up, thank you for joining me. And yeah.
Thanks
And
for having me.
the very last comment that I'm going to say, because I just read it, was that Bellwood sold out of the skeleton key in 2 days. Skeleton key was $13 a 500 milliliter, and they had 2,000 bottles. Greg said if they had sold it for $20, they probably would have sold it just as fast, and it's true. But again, you're looking at Bellwoods. Bellwoods is probably the most hyped brewery in Ontario right now. Bellwoods is Ontario's Stone. It's our Stone. It really is. It's the brewery that everybody wants to get beer from. And I'm not saying they're bad. They make some great beer. They really do. It's great beer. But they are so hyped that there is lineups everywhere to get this beer. Everywhere. Everywhere. It's worth it, but it's everywhere. You have to kill or know somebody. See, I know somebody. I know Greg. And he had to kill somebody just to get in line.
Greg's a murderer. You heard it here first, guys.
But yeah, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.